Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's STORMYBMAN, and I am live and on the move. Shout out to my brother, Junior the Truth. Yeah. Just coming in this early Monday morning, February 2nd, 2026. Yeah. My morning commute. Thought I'd check in this morning with you all. We had a very active weekend of boxing. Man, I can't remember so many cards like what we had this past weekend. Off the top of my head, I want to say that we had we had one on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 1 yesterday. That's quite a lot, you guys. And though the major card was a pay-per-view, I want to say shout out to Supreme Beast Boxing Talk, where I was able to check that out. And we really had an opportunity to see some great fights. Great fights, pretty good matchups. And overall, what we saw was boxing at its best. Yeah. We saw knockouts. We saw controversial situations that stemmed from, you just kind of wonder, like, what happens when people don't do their job as far as making weight and being a professional. Then we also saw something of the absurd and hilarious, where anybody who had a chance to see Miller versus eBay, that was something that it wrote its own narrative for the rest of the evening. So it was quite a night of boxing overall. Preliminaries were pretty good as well. And for those of you who were not aware, Zuffa Boxing had its second card last night with Jose Valenzuela taking on, what's his name? Can't remember the young man's first name, Torres, in the main event. But my goodness, there was a light heavyweight fight on there where we got a chance to see Alexander Vasquez taking on Radije Kalaji. And let me tell you guys, if you didn't see that fight, it was a knockdown, drag out with an unbelievable ending. My goodness, man. This is why I love the sport of boxing. But let me tell you what is so great about the Kalajic fight with Gavaskit. It's one of those scenarios when you just say it ain't over until it's over, huh? And boy, did we see something in that. Because it clearly looked like Gavaskit was on his way to stopping Kalajic, and it looked like, you know, I thought that this was the best that Alexander looked since he's come back. You know, he was out of the sport for like 3 years, and he came back. He had a couple of, let's just say, minor bouts, like an 8-rounder, and then he had another fight, and then he took on David Benavidez, who had moved up to the division. But Benavidez handled him quite easily, though it wasn't Benavidez's typically dominating performance. He basically outpointed Gavaskit, outworked him, and it looked like his power hadn't transitioned to light heavyweight from 168. But he did win the fight, They were very familiar because they had done gym work together. But on this night, last night, Alexander looked the best he has looked to me since he had come back. His punches were fluid. He was moving very well. He was loose, and in shape. But my goodness, by the time the fight was over, you realize that at 37, he can't get out of the way of a right hand to save his life, especially if the fighter matches him in height and reach, which Kolasinac kind of did. They were evenly, they're not far off in height and reach. And once Kolasinac started throwing his right hand down the pipe, the fight changed immediately, resulting in, I think it was a 7th or 8th round stoppage where he knocked Kolasinac out. What a comeback win for him. Because if you guys remember, when David Benavidez moved up to light heavyweight to fight Kolasinac, David Morrell had moved up to light heavyweight and took on Kolasinac, where he won a decision over him. So here these guys are matching up, facing one another, trying to get back into title contention. And it turned out to be one heck of a fight. All of the fights on Zuffa's card last night were bangers, you guys. We saw Valoria in a previous fight there on last night's card pull an upset. All I could say is like, wow, I was watching these matches and I was saying, you know what? This is what it's all about. This is what I tune in to watch boxing for. And once again, like I said, Zuffa is all about putting on quality matches, 50-50 fights or 60-40 fights with guys who also earn bonuses in these fights. There are certain other measures that are taken, like the ring attire that the fighters wear coming to the ring. I had not researched this, but what I've noticed is they're donned in Zuffa gear, which is pretty cool because it's not a distraction from advertisers or, guys getting all these outlandishly designed outfits and stuff to come to the ring. No, you're wearing a basic robe or jersey or something to come to the ring, and you as the fighter, that's what the focal point is. It's not about how good you look, is your appearance and all of that stuff. And I'm feeling that. I truly am, because I'm old school. We got guys who are more concerned about what they look like going into a fight than how they'll look fighting. So this is something to, pay attention to going forward, and I'm truly enjoying it. There was a quick flash of a camera in the stands of watching the fight. Prince Charles Martin, who has a fight coming up against, supposedly against Efe Ajagba. And I'm going to tell you something. I've seen Prince Charles Martin a lot. When they showed him sitting there, he looks svelte, meaning thin. He looked like he's been training and in shape and ready to go. I like that. I like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is what, man, let me tell you something. So far, Zuffa, last week and this week, has put on 2 amazing cards. And as Dana White has said, they're going to have even more stuff coming, but highly entertaining. If you were a novice in a casual and you tuned in to this card last night, you were entertained. I guarantee you. Because that Valoria fight, they looked like Marco Antonio Barrera and what's his name, Eric Morales. the way that they were going at it. I was like, look at these two young guys. And I know the other gentleman, I think it's Ortiz. Forgive me because I don't have my notes in front of me. And I wasn't familiar with those two men. But the gentleman that lost the fight, he was the headliner. I shouldn't say head. He was supposed to be the name known priority out there. And the other gentleman, Valoria, and I say his name because I was watching him the entire time. And I was like, this kid is not an opponent. He looks like the one that they're building. So I was very entertained with that. You know what I'm saying? Let me see who's in the building here. We got Hen Dog out there. What's good with your grand rising to you? Benjamin Harrington is out there. And Del Riv is in the building. What's good? Yeah. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Please hit the like button as you come in, man. So, yeah, and because it got a little late with that card, you know, I didn't do my post-fight show on that, which is why I could talk about it a little bit right now during this live, but very entertaining, man. And if this is what Zuffa is going to be offering, I can't wait for the next show. I can't wait. I like the fact that we're being entertained with quality matchups. Huh? I don't care if I don't know the guys, just like those little young, what were they, lightweights or featherweights, whatever they were. I'm like, look at these two guys battling, man. They look like Barrera and Morales out there. Great stuff. Yeah. And that's what we need in boxing. You see, you got these promoters like De La Hoya, the PBC, even Ed Hearn with Matchroom, and to a lesser degree, Frank Warren with his Queensberry Promotions. They are always looking to put on the promoted bouts where they can kind of skim off the top for the fighters. The focus is the promotion and not the individuals being promoted. That's changing because there's been too many fat cats coming up out of this situation. And what I really love about it is the sport is changing now to a degree where you're going to have to show up and be a professional now. You're going to have to get out there and be at your best, because you're not going in there against a guy where you're an 80-20 favorite, huh? And it's just another paycheck for you. It's another night of just filling your wallet, so to speak. And I really am digging on that, because each time a fighter steps in the ring, their life is on the line. So you might as well be focused up. You might as well be facing the fact that the other guy's there to take your head off. But not only that, when you prevail, that you have the opportunity to receive a bonus for it. If there's a knockout in a certain type of manner, there's a bonus for that. If it's within a certain time frame, if the fight doesn't go to a decision, bonus for that. For the fight of the night, there's a bonus for that. I mean, listen, there's plenty of incentive to make guys step it up. See, we've had a lot of complacency, apathetic approach to the profession, and that's never good. That's never good. Man, I just saw this guy run this light, man. He ran the light like it was just a clear pathway. What the hell? It's too early in the morning for this foolishness. Goodness. So I take it, due to lack of response in the chat, some of you may not have even known the card was going on, or just didn't bother to tune in and watch it. Listen, man, you don't want to be the last person, huh? You don't want to be left out. You don't want to be the person that has no knowledge of something. I try to come out here and share information and everything, but people are always looking for drama. They're looking for, ignorant behavior and stuff like that. I don't know why the focus has turned to that so much in our society, but anything informative, anything that could get you, on alert and get you prepared or something, people are not tuned into that anymore. And that's a shame. That's a shame. You guys should always seek better, higher ground, elevation. You should always seek that. Watching what's his name? Shakur Stevenson Saturday night defeat Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, he boxed him and dominated him 12 rounds. But we still shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves and understand the fact that Shakur defeated Teofimo. Teofimo's nothing. He was never anything. And the thing about it is, he has fought in the sport and been protected and allowed to hide and everything, but he couldn't continue to turn down large paydays. 11 million he turned down to face Devin. He didn't want to fight someone else. I think it was, I don't start me to lying, but it was a couple of other offers made to him, and he didn't want to do that. So I think he got about 8 or 9 million for Shakur. You can't keep turning that type of money down, otherwise people recognize that you just don't want to fight, man, or fight certain individuals. And due to being on the receiving end of gift decisions and everything, there comes a time when you realize you got to give it up. And he dug his own fate with those remarks that he made about the black fighters and everything like that. It's like, why you got to bring race into this, bro? Huh? So I hope with every one of those stinging jabs that Shakur stuck in your face, it made you consider your behavior. Huh? Yeah. Del Rio says, I almost forgot the fights came on Sunday because they had basketball on Prime as well. Man, I haven't watched an NBA game in decades, man. I don't watch the NBA anymore. Don't watch it. I just started watching the NFL after a decade this season, simply because the Bears were winning games that people were talking about it so much, so I decided to tune in. But I'm no longer a Bears fan. I'm no longer an NBA fan. They've lost me pretty much forever with the foolishness. And I'm thankful for these changes in the sport of boxing, because boxing was about to lose me forever. But seeing the fact that Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White have come along and they've decided to start putting together promotions with fighters who are going to take it to the max, I can respect that. And I'm curious to see how this works out. You know what I mean? That's the way to be. It's like keep an eye open and then ear to the ground, but you don't have to necessarily just outright support something, especially if they're not giving you a return on your time invested. It's important to understand and recognize that. That's why I don't understand why people would come to your channel just to troll. If they don't like what you're saying, if they don't like what you're about or whatever, why come? It just go somewhere where they talk about what you like to talk about. There's an old phrase, birds of a feather flock together. You know, be that. Hen Dog is asking, wait, there was fights yesterday? Oh, wow. Hen Dog, you ain't been tuning in to the channel, bro. It's obvious. You ain't been tuning into the channel. You ain't been listening to the lives. Huh? I didn't do any premieres last week. I took the whole week off. I didn't premiere none of the fight cards for last week. But when I was on live, I talked about the fight cards. You see, I keep telling you guys, and you can take it as an insult to you or whatever, but hey, a hit dog will holler, right? I tell you guys, sometimes you tune in and everything. I don't know what you're tuning in for. I don't know what your presence is for. I know when I tune in and watch something, I'm getting something out of it for me. Huh? If it ain't for me, I ain't gonna be there. No way. He says, I be at work. I can't catch the morning shows. I barely catch Drew's lives too. There's a certain thing called replay, brother. You know, because once we put it up and upload it, you can always go back to it and watch it at your leisure. Just like I do. When I watch shows, sometimes I was watching Queens of the Ring, Queens of Boxing Talk from last night because they come on right after Drew and I go off, and I wasn't able to catch them live because I was watching the fights. So I was watching them this morning, caught the replay of their show. And boy, they were cooking. You know, the Queens of Boxing Talk. I like listening to those ladies because they have an interesting take on boxing and is educated as well. You know? And I know I'm not able to be in their lives a lot, but when I am able to, I show them support and everything because I really like what they do and how they articulate their point of view when it comes to the sport of boxing. And I'm gonna tell you something, they're not far off at all. A lot of times they are spot on with what they're saying, you know, but it's just very interesting to catch it from the woman's point of view, because you guys out here won't say the things that they're saying, you know, or that we are saying. You know, you get all in your feelings and everything and all of that, acting all effeminate. It's really ridiculous, you know, but they are doing a great job. So that's an example of what I'm talking about, Hen Dog, that you know, I'll go back and catch stuff. I go back, I watch Supreme Beast, I go back, BF, you know, BF is alive all the time now, you know, because I think he's doing that full time. But I go back and I catch him. You know, this is what I do. I'll go back, even when, like, if I'm working or doing something around the house or something, I'm driving, I'm listening to somebody, You know what I mean? I don't even listen to regular radio or television too much anymore because there's great content out there. You just got to know who to tune in to. That's why I was telling Drew last night when we were on live, that one guy that kept coming in there making those comments. I said, dude, he's trying to take your show off track. Stop giving these guys this type of attention and stay focused. Stay the course of what you're here to do. Because that's all that is. You know what I mean? If you notice on my channel, I don't have time for that foolishness. Not at all. Now they'll be out there watching, but if they show themselves in the chat or whatever and come with that disrespect, sayonara. Yeah. That's just like me, you know, where I get news from and everything. I watch stuff from international feeds. I don't just the U.S. or local or what, man, no way. I'm watching stuff from all over the world. That's how I'm able to take in the sport. What's up with this female, man? Driving like that. Boy. He says, I gotta head in and be on the line. Okay, I appreciate you stopping in, man. And understand, like, there's always a way, you know what I mean? Even if you can only get a little bit at a time or whatever, that's more than nothing at all, brother. It's more than nothing at all. He says, I shared the live, gotta support more of my family. Yeah, that's right. I ask that all the time. We all ask that you share, hit the like button. You don't know how much that does, just simply hitting the like button. And if you share, that's like even extra, because when you share it, it tweaks the algorithm. It pushes us more into a category of what's to be seen. See, when you open your YouTube page or your social media page where you've shared content, it pops up, especially if it has been shown to be popular. You know what I mean? And that raises it, and it puts more eyes on us. I did my post-fight show yesterday morning instead of last Saturday night, and I had 300 people in there, When I do the Sunday morning call in, I usually have 200 people or less, but that post-fight / call in, there was some support and sentiment there. That, you know why? Because people watch what I have to say on the post-fight shows and everything. Even if they don't want to support me, they giving me the views, It just shows you how people are. Most of them are coming there to see what I say so they could go and do what they gonna do and say what they want to say. But it's no respect there of like saying, hey, Stormy, I like what you're doing, or hey, I enjoyed this or that or whatever. No, ego gets in the way of that and prevents people from acknowledging someone else doing well. But as I said, 2 million views to my channel, but only 6,100 subs. Get the fuck out of here, YouTube. The fuck out of here. That is not appropriated numbers. It's not. How the hell 2 million people gonna be looking at you, but only 6,100 gonna sub to you? They've given my subs to other people. I talk about it all the time. Mr. Shelton, what's good with you? Peace to you, brother. It's just like right now it says that we got 8 people watching. but only 3 people or 4 people have written in my chat. Where the other 4 at? Peeping through the blinds and bushes like perverts. Yeah. And I'm not even one of them guys that's always trying to be on live. You know what I'm saying? I come on, say what God say, and be gone. It's just like I do my shows. I pretty much, like yesterday, I went a little bit over with my post-fight call-in because I know the brother KG wanted to come on and talk about something, so I kept it open a little bit longer so we could have that conversation. But typically, I keep my show, it's a 2-hour spot, and I'm done. I don't like to be on for several hours like that and everything because, you know, I can always come back and talk about something at another time, you know? Some people just like to be on the air, and then that's when the bullshit kicks in. Tuesday tussle, when I do that show, it's about an hour. I'm done. Sometimes a little less than an hour. But I ain't got to be out there all day and all night. For what? Man, this is crazy, bro. It's 24 degrees here in the Chi, but it feels like it might be 40 degrees because we've had these really sub-zero temperatures for so long over the past 2 weeks that this thawing. The streets are wet, and understand this, it's below 32 degrees. 32 is freezing, right? So the streets are wet at 24 degrees. Yeah. But that Zuffa 3 ought to be something. I think that's going to be Efe Ajagba and Charles Martin. 2 heavyweights. That's going to be worth tuning in to check out. And then they put fighters on the undercard. It's like, man, the matchups are crazy. I can't wait. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, buddy. This woman walked right out in front of my car while I'm trying to turn. She must be looking forward to medical insurance fraud or something. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, anyway, not much activity from the chat, so just thought I'd come on and do a quick live. But once again, you guys prove me what I be saying is right on the money, you know. I can see exactly what things are, and I don't linger. I don't stay around. You know what I'm saying? Because I got other shit to do. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And I'm out.